Fatih. السلام عليكم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله محمد سيد الأولين والآخرين مدد يا رسول الله مدد يا سيد الأنصار مدد يا من شاء دستور مولانا شاء الله فاز محمد على الحقاني مدد طريقتنا الصحبة والخير في الجميع. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن جاءكم فاسق بنبأ فتبينوا أن تصيبوا قوما بجهالة فتصبحوا ما فعلتم نادمين. صدق الله العظيم. Allah Azze ve Celle buyuruyor, bir şey duydunuz mu onun iyicene araştırın.
Allah Almighty says that if you hear something, if you hear news or information, then first research and find out about the truthfulness and trustworthiness of that information.
Doğru mudur, değil midir?
If you hear something, if something's being said, then first try to find out whether that information can be trusted and whether it's true or it's wrong.
Acele etmeyin.
Do not make a decision hastily based on the information you heard.
Acele ederseniz pişman olursunuz.
Because if you hear something and then you, based on what you heard, act hastily or make a decision hastily, then you may end up doing something which you may regret in the aftermath.
Şu tarafa zarar verirseniz sonra
Because by doing something hastily, upon hearing something, you may cause harm on the other side.
bakarsın o haber yanlış.
Because maybe that news or that information you heard was wrong, maybe it was a lie.
Onu yaptığınızda pişman olursunuz diyor.
And then you will regret having caused that harm because of your overreaction, because of your making the decision hastily based on that information which you've heard without actually researching whether it's true or not.
Allah Azze ve Celle Kur'an-ı Azimüşşan'da yani şimdiki halimiz hiç araştırmadan bir şey geldi mi hemen kabul edip
This is the state we find ourselves in today's time, is that when people hear something, they do not really research or they do not try to find out about the truthfulness of that information.
İnsanlara zan yapmaktan fazla
Instead, they just accept what they hear and then they speak and then they think bad of people, they speak ill of people.
eziyet, zarar da vermek çok oluyor.
And thus they cause a harm, they oppress people because of that wrong information.
Bu pişman olunacak şeyler acele etmemek lazım.
And then you do things which you regret in the aftermath, and in order to await such actions which you will regret later, you should not overreact, you should not act hastily.
Bu zamanın kötü halleri çoktur.
There are many bad states and bad characteristics and behaviors of this time.
Meşhur laf var. Çamur at yaparsa izi kalır.
And there's a famous saying that when you throw mud at someone, the least that will remain will be the traces of that mud.
Yani çamur kalmazsa da orada izi kalır.
And even if the mud is gone, there will still be the traces left.
Bu insanların zihninde kalır.
And the traces of that mud will still remain in the minds of people.
Onun için bu zihin temiz olması lazım.
But we need to make sure that our minds are clean.
Şu zandan uzak olması lazım.
And we must stay away from bad thoughts.
Her duyduğunuza inanmayın.
Don't believe everything you hear.
Atalarımız her duyduğuna inanırsan sen bütün hayatın boyu başkalarının oyuncağı olursun.
If you believe everything you hear, then your life will be dictated by what others say.
Maskarası olursun.
You will become the clown and you will become the toy of others.
İstediği vakit şimdiki hal öyledir bütün.
And people will then be able to manipulate you as they like.
İnsanları kandırıyor. Bir tane
And now this is what we see in today's world, is that people are being cheated through misinformation.
bir şey söyledi mi Kur'an'a inanmazlar, hadise inanmazlar.
And people say things and they easily believe everything they hear. However, they do not believe in Allah Almighty. They do not believe in the Holy Quran.
Bir adamın teki yalan söyledi mi onun sözüne itibar edip
However, they believe in some arbitrary person's arbitrary words.
Ortalığı harap ediyorlar.
And thus they believe the lies of an arbitrary person, and they destroy their surroundings and environment based on that arbitrary person's lies.
Geriyorlar, her türlü kötülüğü yapıyorlar.
And thus they then do all kinds of bad things as a reaction of what they heard.
Ondan sonra bu zamanki insanlar pişman da olmuyor.
But the people of today, they do not regret.
Eski Peygamberimiz sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem zamanındaki pişman olabilirsiniz yaptığınızdan diyor.
During the times of our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, people would regret for what they did.
Şimdikiler hiç ne pişmanlık var ne bir şey var.
Now we live in a time where there's neither regret nor remorse.
Hakikat çıktıktan sonra sesleri çıkmıyor.
And even if the truth comes out, they become silent.
Yahut gene aynı şekilde duyduğumuz doğrudur, bu yanlış söylüyor.
Or even though the truth came out, they are still stubbornly insist on their lies, and they defend their lies, that their lies are true.
Diye kötülüğe devam.
And thus they continue with their badness.
Allah muhafaza etsin.
May Allah Almighty protect us.
Kötülük yapan kötülük bulur.
If you do bad things, you will encounter badness.
Yalan söyleyen hiçbir zaman iflah olmaz.
Those who tell lies will never be successful.
İnsanlara yalan, iftira yapan onların günahları çok büyüktür.
Those who tell lies about others must know that they're committing a heavy sin.
Ahirette azabı çoktur.
There will be great punishment in the hereafter for telling lies about people.
Dünyada özür dileyip helallik istemese
Unless they ask those people about whom they have been telling lies for forgiveness,
ahiretteki çekeceği çok büyük bir şeydir.
there is great punishment they will have to undergo if they fail to ask for forgiveness.
Ama şimdiki insanlar özür dilemek diye bir şey yok bunlarda.
But people of today's time, they do not know such thing as asking for forgiveness.
Özür dile çok ayıptır. Yaptığı hatayı kabullenmek.
People do not regret their wrongdoings, and they do not even accept their wrongdoings.
Yok bu zaman insanlarında. Nadir olarak var ama
There are only a few, or there are only rare cases where people regret and are sorry for what they said.
çoğu öyle bir terbiye alınmış ki Osmanlı'dan sonra
But after our ancestors, after the time of the Ottomans, people have lost their good behavior and good manners.
hiç terbiye edep kalmamış.
People have been trained and educated in a way that they are no longer aware of what good manners are.
Ahlak kalmamış.
They have lost good character.
Allah muhafaza etsin.
May Allah Almighty protect us.
Allah insanlara akıl fikir versin inşallah.
May Allah Almighty give people understanding and reason to think.
Allah صاحب के अंदर से इंशाअल्लाह.
May Allah Almighty send Mahdi alayhi salam.
ومن الله توفيق. الفاتحة.